is the code of what we were just showing. So word count, the code for the mapper. So class map extends MapReduce base and implements mapper. So we get here count and the word, and then single line value to string. So we here converting the value to a string if in case it was numerical. And then we have a string token. That is to get the next token or the next word in the string. And then collects the word and its count. The reducer, the class reducer extends MapReduce base and implements reducer. Again, it takes the key and the values as an input. While there is more values, increment. So it is just adding the numbers together. Now, we mentioned that in order to run this program, we have to create a job and submit the job to the cluster. The administrator of the cluster can view at any time all the jobs that are submitted and what is the status of the processing. So the jobs are controlled by the job configurations. So we have these job configurations that are maps from attribute names to string values. The framework defines the attributes to control how the job is executed. So we can do configure set, the job name and the application. So the application can add arbitrary values to these job configurations. These type of job configurations are available to all tasks. So what do? We create a program for our application. Next, launch the program. When we launch the program, we are configuring the mapper and the reducer to use the output key and value types and the locations of the input and the output. And once we launch this program, the program submits the job to the cluster, and it has to wait for it to be completed because, as we mentioned, the cluster runs these jobs, the group will run these jobs in a batch processing fashion. That the jobs are queued, the first one comes, runs, the next job comes and runs, and then the next job comes and runs. So these are the configurations. We will set mapper class, a reducer class, and combiner if we want to use the combiner. So the combiner is an optional tool that can be used. But if we want to, we can configure it. We are configuring here output classes and also the input. So this is the formats of the input and the output. And also the path of where they are. And finally, we can, when we're done, we can run this job configuration. So these input and output configurations can be specified if we want to give some specific format to be used for the input and the output. For example, if we have binary data, we can say that we want this to be read in a sequence. So we can say sequence file input. If we want to have line-based reading of line-based, we can say that read line by line because it's a text file, so text input format. This is not required to be used. How many mappers are we gonna get? What do you think? The Hadoop is gonna automatically decide the number of mappers. So how many mappers do you think we're gonna get? Look on the slide. Anyone? Anyone? What is it saying? As many of the number of HDFS blocks that are processed. So, what is the size of the block? We have 64 kilobytes is the size of the block. So if we have a file that's bigger than 64 kilobytes, there are going to be 2 blocks created for the file and you get 2 mappers, right? And so if the file is 3 times 64 kilobytes, you're going to get 3 mappers. That's the default. It doesn't have to be this way. You can choose it. You can say, I don't want 64 kilobytes. That's a huge block. All right? Create a block of 1 megabyte for me. And then you're gonna get a mapper for each 1 megabyte, if you want to. But there is a minimum size that is defined. Otherwise, the number of maps can be specified. You can tell I want that many maps. The number of maps can also be controlled by changing the split size. So remember that the file got split into pieces. We can tell into how many pieces to split it. The reducers, unless the amount of data is small, we get 0.95 times the number of nodes to where the map tasks are running. There are some handy tools. Now, I mentioned we have seen this combiner earlier. I mentioned combiner is optional. We don't have to use the combiner. But if we want to use the combiner, that will save us some work because the reducers are counting the counts for us. If we have a combiner, we can combine these counts before we send them to the reducers. There are other things, partitioners, counters, compression can be used to reduce the size of files that are being sent through the network. This way the files will get there faster. Some cache can be used. This is to access files in memory faster than if they are on the disk. So let's see what each one of these are. The partitioners are applications that define how the keys are assigned to the reducers. If we don't use these, by default, the partitioning will spread the keys evenly, but in a random way. If we want to customize that, we can use these partitioners. For example, to reduce the total order in the output. If we want to use these partitioners, there's an interface called Partitioner interface, and it can be set into the configuration set partitioner class. So if we want to divide into roughly equal buckets the output, then we can specify this in our partitioner. The combiner, as I mentioned, when the MapReduce has many repeated keys, just like those words that we have seen. We sorted them and we have seen the same word was seen several times and it just had a count of 1. So this combiner can combine them or aggregate them together. And the goal and why are we doing this is because if we combine them, we will be sending less network traffic. If we didn't combine them, each one of those will go on the network separately to the reducer. If we combine them, a lot less messages will go on the network to the reducer. So the processing will be faster altogether. So combiners have same interface as reducers and often are in the same class. If we are to use these combiners, we have to set them in the configuration parameters. Compression, again, is used in order to speed up processing or performance. So compressing the outputs and intermediate data will have performance gains because the size of the files that travels through the network is smaller, so the files will get there faster. If we are to use this compression, again, it has to be set into the configuration parameters. So set output compress to true to compress the job output. Set the map output to compress map output to true to compress the map output. So they are counters. These can also be used as helpers. Let's say we have count some records. How many times these records occurred? Then we can use this type of counters. So counter, let's say some kind of events occurred, and we want to check how many times these events occurred. So then we can use